Lantern Valley Studios, July,
Today,
Canada Day, July.
Canada, and we roll our last world of the year on this day. Today is this day. Uh,
Which
the
means we choose a world that's then now being developed like all the other worlds
yeah,
to
it's
some
kind
degree.
of amazing that the first time we rolled four worlds and it ended up being World 9, we were doing treasure tales. And it was like movie posters and stuff like that. It's so long ago. Oh my
One
gosh,
day,
and so
one
much has
day.
changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So
Do you want
we
me to
could,
do it?
yeah, I guess just random number generator. Uh, I'm gonna count how many worlds are left.
Yeah.
I think there's only 7 because we're gonna skip 15, 14, 15, and 29, or 29, 30. So there's only 7 total.
Okay.
Yeah,
3, 2,
that makes sense.
1. Yep. Number 3.
3. Season. Host of Shattered Seasons. Uh, so this world, Dranif, was the original Mixed Masters overscape for it. A bunch of dinosaurs that can like
Like
there's
big,
like web involved. It's almost like dinosaurs with web. And
big frilled lizard, like Stegosaurus, or not Stegosaurus, but the ones with the big, I don't know, like fin on their back.
yeah,
But then they have like,
Dimitridons or something, I think
yeah,
they're called.
like huge frilled, massive frilled lizard crocodiles.
Yeah, that are like more agile and flexible than ever shown in like a TV show or something.
Yeah,
And they use like grappling hooks and things and like swing around in, in canyons and jungles. Uh, really agile, flexible things like that. Um, not I don't know if it's you call it like metamorphosis or something, but they almost have like a tadpole into frog type of evolution, but it's more like small raptor into giant frilled raptor, and that can morph into crocodile, brontosaurus. Like they could branch off and like kind of evolve in different ways as they're growing up, and then
right,
based on their environment and whatnot.
right.
Uh, yeah,
And then
that's
there's
like
like
the
this existential, like black hole thing that happens to them when they're transforming or whatever that
yeah.
is.
The realm of instinct, I think it's called.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then yeah, just like that's gonna be weird to write about. That'll be fun. But yeah, they entering like a realm of instinct where you suddenly there's so many versions of that kind of thing in shows where like a character goes into like another mode or another zone and then they become superpowered or something and
right.
or whatever it is. But this is like a version that's more less about like it's just as intense as like one of those, a character has like I've got an evil side and I transform in the evil side and then I'm like in a zone and I'm like super bad or whatever. But the this is like it has that kind of darkness to it, but
Yeah.
it's super wholesome and functional. It's not about killing things. It's not about like suddenly the person's a crazy fighter for a while and then they snap out of it and they're like back to clarity. It's like more about how to,
But I think it does kind of have like a like that darkness, but also like a grossness. Like there's something kind of gross about it because they're like shedding their skin almost, and like shedding their old
yeah, but it's
bodies, and
more, yeah, that's happening because they're like actually transforming
yeah,
like in deep within themselves. So they're kind of transforming from the soul up, and then the body is like the last thing that goes. But so it's like the body starts to shred away
Yeah.
while the soul is like remorphing and becoming a new manifested form, and then the body is like almost like something is coming out of from in the body, like the body is an egg and there's like another thing that comes out from inside it, and that's the next form of it. So yeah, it's almost like the rather than shedding, it'd be like the way a chicken sheds its egg when it comes out of the egg. But it would look more like shedding because it's not an egg, it's the
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
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 And that's happening while they're shedding their mind to transform into something and become a different person and all this other stuff. And yeah.
Yeah.
And then and yeah. So that's the dinosaurs or the
And then,
Pachilla.
yeah.
And then now they're going to be writing a book about it and humans. So humans who live in a world with that as a part of their everyday life is there's these dinosaurs around.
And they're doing the mind transforming stuff, and
Yeah.
also transforming their physical nature, and that goes with the seasons changing.
Yeah. The title is Host of Shattered Seasons. So it's like hosting something and the seasons shattering, but you're also hosting the seasons that are shattering. And yeah. Um the I think I already wrote the in one of the opening scenes to this. And it's like a rescue mission where so the story is gonna follow
Right.
Dranith, who's one of the main characters, and she's kind of like a it's not really a cartographer or like a scientist or something,
Cartographer.
but
Yeah.
yeah, it's more like she maps the way plants spread and like certain types of life forms are so she's making maps, but she's making maps of like the way things are moving around. And then she kind of wants to go ahead of everybody, and she's just like overly ambitious and kind of stubborn and goes into these places when they're not like ready to go in there, and then they have to rescue her. And that's like one of the opening scenes is she goes into this place and there's these, to put it in really vague terms, like some kind of magical plant thing that goes wrong, but she connects with it. Like she goes kind of connects with through the realm of instinct and turns into something else. And then a whole team has to come in and rescue her. But because of what she found and what she's seen and like what she's mapped out, she figures out that this plant is like gonna, or like what this plant is already spread over, and that what's like down there, and to go deal with some things. And then they're trying to figure out where it's spreading next because it's like changing all sorts of other stuff. And so yeah, that's kind of the beginning of the story. Yeah,
Yeah.
be a weird one to there are a few, after writing some novels and outlining, like we've rolled so many worlds except six now, and then the few that we skipped. So after doing them all, it'll be interesting to almost like figure out what, you know, I have all these so many characters kind of like loosely in the outlines or a lot of characters written about and stuff, and to see how to make these all distinct. Because when I'm thinking of like what kind of character would is Dranith as she goes into these places, like the the initial ideas for her, I think, have worked their way into other characters of more like books that I may have already written a bit,
Right.
maybe. But I don't know if she's actually been like to reference some other characters from our novels. It's almost like she's a mix of the stubbornness and I don't care what others do, I'm gonna go do a thing that Annabeth has from World 26, but also some of that like just like I'm gonna do what I want, and she's not like serious about it that Kiwo has from World 17. And like just like a mix of all those. So
Yeah.
to make sure that she's like distinct to
Yeah.
herself and isn't like just a mix of the other things I've written, that's
Yeah.
always a fun little challenge.
Yeah. What kind of flavor of uh, Ace Ventura, Austin Powers character?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to mix the realm of instinct in there too
Yeah.
is an interesting one. Or just like, you got the overscape and you got the theme of the world and the whole plot and all these characters and stuff. And to have a character that distinctly becomes a different character all the time. Like I heard in I forget I think it's Joe Abercrombie, who's another popular author. He has a Logan Nine Fingers, which is a character who has like an alternate consciousness or something. But uh, I heard that in the story when he goes into that altered consciousness, you'd never get to see it because he's like not him, so it like goes into a different perspective, or like
Right.
it doesn't show what he does when
Right.
he's there. And a lot of stories do that. A
Yeah.
lot of stories there you see it from like other characters' perspectives and things like that. So the realm of instinct is going to be an interesting thing to play with when it's from the character's perspective, and rather than becoming like unaware of what's going on, they're almost like hyper aware
Yeah.
that like things are shifting, and like to be hyper aware through a shift into a completely different like spiritual realm in a way, like another dimension of themselves for a period of time, and then they can decide like what to keep from there as they go back into like other forms and just that type of thing. To have that mix within another mix of like a dynamic character already and all this other stuff, that'll be
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
fun to experiment with.
Yeah. Cool.
And then just dinosaur stuff.
Well, that was world what number?
Three. Three.
Three.
Three.
Right. Right. So that's actually number three though.
Three.
Or that
Yeah.
was actually number three. Okay, because I mean that's funny though, because I chose number three out of seven, but it's actually number
Yeah.
three out of
We
30.
haven't done 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah. Okay.
So the third one would be 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
See you next month.